All should stay vigilant so that no one can distort narratives of our victory in the liberation war, says Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina while inaugurating month-long art exhibition of artist Shahabuddin Ahmed.
আবার যেন কখনো আমাদের এই মুক্তিযুদ্ধের বিজয় গাথা কেউ বিকৃত করতে না পারে এজন্য সকলকে সজাগ থাকার আহ্বান।
President Mohammad Shahabuddin returns home tomorrow, wrapping up his visit to Indonesia and Singapore. Running at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour, a trial passenger train crosses Podda Bridge in 3.5 minutes today for the first time. Awami League central leaders call on parliament to stay on streets and give befitting replies against all conspiracies ahead of upcoming elections. 8 teams battling to help survivors and locate the dead 5 days after devastating flood in Libya. Death toll feared to reach nearly 20,000. And India batting for victory, target of 266 runs against Bangladesh in Asia Cup 2023 Super 4 phase in Colombo. Assalamu alaikum viewers, I am Tanzila Manar Sultana welcoming you all to News at 10. You have just heard the headlines, now moving on to news in details.
7 কোটি মানুষকে তাবা রাখতে পারবো না। আমরা যখন মরতে শিখেছি তখন কেউ আমাদের দবাতে পারবে না।
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina reiterated her call to everyone to be vigilant against distortion of the victory of the War of Liberation. She said, the people of Bangladesh, motivated by the spirit of the War of Liberation, will continue to pull the country forward in the future. The painting of an artist can be understood with the heart, and simultaneously one can be motivated by being imbued with patriotism, and a spirit of consciousness is awakened, she said. The Premier said these while addressing the inauguration ceremony of a special art exhibition titled 1973 to 2023 Retrospective, with the selected paintings of Independence Award-winning and internationally acclaimed artist and valiant freedom fighter Shahabuddin Ahmed at Bangladesh National Museum in the capital this afternoon. Bangabandhu's youngest daughter, Sheikh Rehana, was present at the inaugural ceremony. Terming the exhibition of Shahabuddin Ahmed's paintings as very significant, Sheikh Hasina said that it is highlighting the nature of Bangladesh, the state of the country's people, and the spirit of the War of Liberation in front of the people, especially the youths of Bangladesh.
এখন পর্যন্ত তার তুলি আলোচনা আমরা মুক্তিযুদ্ধ এবং সেই চেতনাকেই কিন্তু অনুভব করতে পারি। সেজন্য শাহাবুদ্দিনকে আমার আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ। মনে হয় যেন সে একজন মুক্তিযোদ্ধা এখনই বোধহয় আবার যুদ্ধ করবে, তবে যুদ্ধ তো আমরা করে যাচ্ছি, এটা ঠিক। কারণ ৭৫ 15ই আগস্ট জাতির পিতাকে হত্যার পর স্বাধীনতার চেতনা, মুক্তিযুদ্ধের আদর্শ সবই তো মুছে গিয়েছিল। আমাদের কবি, শিল্পী, সাহিত্যিক, লেখক তারাই কিন্তু তাদের লেখনের মধ্য দিয়ে এই চেতনাকে ধরে রেখেছিলেন বলেই আমরা রাজনীতিবিদরা রাজনীতির মধ্য দিয়ে আবার দেশকে শুধু গণতন্ত্র ফিরিয়ে আনা না, গণতন্ত্র ফিরিয়ে এনেছি, জনগণের ভোটের অধিকার নিশ্চিত করেছি, মুক্তিযুদ্ধের চেতনায় বাংলাদেশকে গড়ে তোলার পদক্ষেপ নিয়েছি। আজকে আমাদের তরুণ সমাজের মাঝে সেই চেতনাটা কিন্তু আবার ফিরে আসতে শুরু করেছে। এটাই হচ্ছে সবথেকে বড় পাওয়া বলে আমি মনে করি। শিল্পীর আঁকা ছবি হৃদয় দিয়ে উপলব্ধি করা যায়, আবার সাথে সাথে দেশপ্রেমে উদ্বুদ্ধ হওয়া যায়, একটা চেতনা জাগ্রত হয়। আর আমাদের জন্য মহান মুক্তিযুদ্ধের চেতনা অত্যন্ত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। সেই চেতনায় আমাদের বাংলাদেশের জনগণ জাগ্রত হবে এবং দেশকে মুক্তিযুদ্ধের আদর্শেই ভবিষ্যতেও এগিয়ে নিয়ে যাবে, গড়ে তুলবে। আবার যেন কখনো আমাদের এই মুক্তিযুদ্ধের বিজয় গাথা কেউ বিকৃত করতে না পারে, এজন্য সকলকে সজাগ থাকার আহ্বান জানিয়েই
Held with State Minister for Cultural Affairs, K.M. Khalid in the chair, the function was also addressed by President of the Board of Trustees of Bangladesh National Museum, Professor Dr. A.A.M.S. Arifin Siddiq, Cultural Affairs Secretary Khalil Ahmed, painter Shahabuddin Ahmed, and French Ambassador to Bangladesh, Berry Mazdupi. Director General of National Museum Mohammad Kamruzzaman delivered the welcome speech. Later, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina opened the retrospective exhibition by cutting a ribbon. She also visited the paintings being displayed at the exhibition. Some 140 selected artworks painted by internationally renowned Bangladeshi painter Shahabuddin Ahmed are being displayed in the month-long exhibition. A meeting of Bangladesh Awami League Parliamentary Nomination Board was held this evening. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina chaired the meeting of the party's Parliamentary Nomination Board held at the Prime Minister's official residence, Kono Bhavan. Members of Bangladesh Awami League Parliamentary Nomination Board were present at the meeting. President Mohammad Shahabuddin will return home tomorrow evening, wrapping up his 13-day visit to Indonesia and Singapore. A VVIP aircraft of Biman Bangladesh Airlines carrying the president along with his spouse, Dr. Rebecca Sultana, and other entourages is scheduled to land at the Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport from Singapore at about 6 p.m. Earlier on September 8, the head of the state flew to Singapore for checkup from Indonesian capital Jakarta, where he attended the 43rd ASEAN Summit, 18th East Asia Summit and other related programs, with some sidelines bilateral meetings on September 5 to September 7. At the invitation of the President of the Republic of Indonesia and ASEAN Chair for 2023, Joko Widodo, President Shahabuddin left Dhaka for Jakarta on September 4. Winding up his 5-day Indonesia tour, the President will reach the airport tomorrow. A passenger train has crossed the Podda Setu for the first time today at a speed of 120 kilometers. The train crossed the Podda bridge just in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. The trial run of the special speedy train between Dhaka and Bhanga of Faridpur was conducted today ahead of the formal inauguration on October 10. On Friday, the speedy passenger train ran between Mawa and Bhanga 4 times as test runs. The 5-compartment train first reached Mawa from Bhanga via Podda Bridge in 51 minutes at a speed of 60 kilometers. Later, it reached Bhanga from Mawa in 41 minutes at a speed of 80 kilometers. Afterwards, the train reached Mawa from Bhanga in 34 minutes at a speed of 100 kilometers. On its way back to Bhanga from Mawa, the train ran at a speed of 120 kilometers and reached the destination only in 30 minutes. The distance between Mawa and Bhanga is 42 kilometers. Awami League central leaders have urged party men to remain on the streets until the next election to give a befitting reply to the conspiracies of the local and foreign plotters who have joined hands against the government. They made the call at a peace rally protesting the terror, militancy, anarchy and evil politics and the continued anti-state conspiracies of BNP Jamaat at Bangabandhu Avenue this afternoon. The speakers at the peace rally organized by Dhaka South City Awami League said that resistance will be put up like before against any BNP misdeed. Dhaka South City Awami League President Abu Ahmed Manafi chaired the rally, while Awami League Presidium member Dr. Abdul Razak spoke as the chief guest. The rally was also addressed by Awami League Presidium member Dr. Mustafa Jalal Mohiuddin, Joint General Secretary Mahabubul Alam Hanif, Organizing Secretary Mirza Azam, Executive Committee member Advocate Advocate Sanjeeda Khanam, South City Awami League General Secretary Humayun Kabir, Jubo League Chairman Sheikh Fazle Shams Porash, and General Secretary Mainul Hussain Khan Nikhil and other City Awami League leaders. The Holy Eid-e-Miladun-Nabi, marking the anniversary of the birth and demise of Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, will be observed across the country on September 28 with due religious solemnity. The decision was taken at the National Moon Sighting Committee's meeting held at the Islamic Foundation Conference Room at Baitul Mukarram National Mosque this evening, with Secretary of the Ministry of Religious Affairs Muhammad Abdul Hamid Jamaddar in the chair. Director General of Islamic Foundation Dr. Muhammad Bashirul Alam and Khatib of Baitul Mukarram were present in the meeting. The meeting informed that as the moon of Rabiul Awal of 1445 Hijri was not sighted in the sky of Bangladesh today, the holy month of Rabiul Awal will begin on September 17. Those who want to jeopardize the sovereignty of the country being loyal to the foreigners, the educated section of the society is ready to resist them. Noted educationist of Bangladesh came up with the commitment at a discussion at the Jatiya Press Club today on the foreigners' interference in an independent and sovereign country. Education, Research and Development Forum of Bangladesh ERDFB organized it. World University's Vice-Chancellor Professor Dr. Abdul Mannan Chowdhury presented keynote paper in the discussion. University Grants Commission member and ERDFB President Professor Dr. Muhammad Sajjad Hussain presided over the function. Vice-Chancellor of National University Professor Dr. Muhammad Mashir Rahman, Vice-Chancellor of Pirojpur Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Science and Technology University Dr. Qazi Saifuddin Ahmed, Vice-Chancellor of R.P. Shah University, Professor Dr. Monindra Kumar Roy, former Vice-Chancellor of State University, Professor Dr. Muhammad Anwarul Kabir, Provost of Dhaka University, Skobi Sufia Kamal Hall, Professor Dr. Tawhida Rashid, and ERDFB General Secretary, Professor Dr. Muhammad Badruzzaman Bhuiya spoke. Condemning the letter of foreigners to influence the ongoing judicial activities against Dr. Yunus, the speaker said there were examples of punishment for crimes of noble winners in different countries. So proper punishment should be given to Dr. Yunus for embezzling money of the poor and the workers, they added. Now moving on to international news. The United Nations is urgently seeking more than $71 million to assist those most in need after deadly flash floods swept Libya over the weekend. 8 teams are battling to help survivors and locate the dead 5 days after devastating flooding hit eastern Libya. Thousands of people were killed when 2 dams burst after intense rainfall from Storm Daniel, washing away whole neighborhoods in the city of Derna. Figures for the number of dead vary from around 6,000 to 11,000, and with thousands still listed as missing, the port city's mayor says the total could reach 20,000. About 30,000 people have been left homeless, the International Organization for Migration says, with the UN's humanitarian agency warning of the danger of disease from contaminated water. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un continued his days-long visit to Russia Friday, heading to an aircraft plant in the eastern city of Komsomolsk-on-Amur, according to Russian state media, after the two sides said military cooperation was a possibility. The facility is the country's largest aviation manufacturing plant and builds and develops fighter jets, including the Su-35S, state media TASS reported. Kim is also expected to travel to the port city of Vladivostok, where he will view the military capabilities of Russia's Pacific Fleet, Russian President Vladimir Putin told state news agency Russia One. The tour of key sites in the Russian city for Far East region came after Putin said Russia is considering and discussing some military cooperation with North Korea following a summit at which Kim appeared to endorse Moscow's war on Ukraine. Wednesday's 5-hour meeting at the Vostochny Cosmodrome signaled closer relations between the two countries, both of which face international isolation. Moscow for its invasion of Ukraine and Pyongyang for its nuclear weapons and ballistic missile program. The Ukrainian military says its forces have captured the eastern village of Andrivka in the Donetsk region, claiming Russian troops sustained heavy losses. Kiev says its drones attacked 2 Russian patrol ships operating in the Black Sea and destroyed a sophisticated Triumph surface-to-air missile defense system in Russian-occupied Crimea. The United States says it will identify and counter Russian attempts to acquire military equipment for the war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, reports say Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is to meet with U.S. President Joe Biden at the White House next week. According to the agency reports, Zelensky will meet with the U.S. leader at the White House next Thursday. The UK, France and Germany have announced they will retain sanctions on Iran in an attempt to deter the country from selling drones and missiles to Russia. In 2015, Iran agreed to a nuclear deal, and under the terms, some sanctions are due to be lifted next month. But the European nations believe Iran breached the deal by enriching and storing uranium. Iran says their move is illegal and provocative, when highly enriched uranium can be used to make a nuclear weapon. The European powers announced that they would incorporate expiring UN sanctions into their own laws. Some of the measures are supposed to stop Iran developing and exporting ballistic missiles and drones. But despite the sanctions, many drones made in Iran have been used by Russia in its war against Ukraine. Iran agreed to the deal known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action with a group of world powers known as the P5+1, the US, UK, France, China, Russia and Germany 8 years ago. Now some other international news in brief. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is willing to meet North Korea's Kim Jong-un without preconditions, a top government official said Friday. Yemen's Houthi rebels will head to Saudi Arabia amid efforts to negotiate a permanent ceasefire to end the long-running war in Yemen. Russian ambassador to the US, Anatoly Antonov, said out of despair or delusion, the US government has been inventing new ways to destroy the Russian economy, but its attempts will fail. Waters may be flowing on the surface of a colossal planet that lies about 120 light-years from Earth, according to new evidence uncovered by the James Webb Space Telescope. The number of butterflies in the UK has risen to its highest level since 2019, according to conservationists. Experts say butterflies are a really good indicator of a healthy environment. There is no symptom of improvement in the dengue situation across the country, as over 2,000 have been infected and 12 died during last 24 hours. A press release of the Directorate General of Health Services said among the dead, 4 were in Dhaka and 8 were outside Dhaka. 2,129 dengue patients were admitted to different hospitals across the country during the last 24 hours. Among them, 843 dengue patients were hospitalized in Dhaka city and 1,286 patients outside Dhaka. Meanwhile, no one has died of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. The country reported 8 COVID-19 positive cases as 562 tested in the last 24 hours. Corona infection rate was reported at 1.42%. The death toll from dengue and the infection number this year have already surpassed all records for the last 24 years. Currently, around 10,000 dengue patients taking treatment at various hospitals all over the country. Dengue claimed 778 lives this year, while 1,59,835 people were infected with the fatal disease. Dengue patients and their relatives said personal awareness is necessary to prevent dengue menace. Doctors at the hospital said the dengue infection rate in September is like that in August. They said there is no alternative to mass awareness to prevent dengue infection and death toll alongside providing treatment in time. News on weather. Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said light to moderate rain or thunder showers accompanied by temporary gusty wind is likely to occur at a few places over Khulna, Borishal, Chattogram and Sylhet divisions and at one or two places over Rangpur, Rajshahi, Mymensingh and Dhaka divisions. Besides, moderately heavy falls also likely to occur at places over southern part of the country. Day temperature may rise slightly and night temperature may remain nearly unchanged over the country, said the Met Office. News on sports. India are now batting against Bangladesh with a victory target of 266 runs in the Asia Cup Super 4's last match in Colombo. India scored 146 runs for 5 wickets in 34 overs when reports last came in. Earlier, Bangladesh batted first and scored 265 runs for 8 wickets in the stipulated 50 overs. Captain Shakib al-Hasan scored 80, Tawhid Hridoy 54 and Nasu Mohammed 44 runs. India and Sri Lanka have already secured the final of the Asia Cup. To end the bulletin, headlines once again. All should stay vigilant so that no one can distort narratives of our victory in the Liberation War, says Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina while inaugurating month-long art exhibition of artist Shahabuddin Ahmed. President Mohammad Shahabuddin returns home tomorrow, wrapping up his visit to Indonesia and Singapore. Running at a speed of 120 km per hour, a trial passenger train crosses Podda Bridge in 3.5 minutes today for the first time. Awami League central leaders call on party men to stay on streets and give befitting replies against all conspiracies ahead of upcoming elections. Eight teams battling to help survivors and locate the dead 5 days after devastating flood in Libya. Death toll feared to reach nearly 20,000. And India batting for victory target of 266 runs against Bangladesh in Asia Cup 2023 Super 4 phase in Colombo. And that's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us and we request you all to watch your 11:30 Bangla News. Keep your homestead neat and clean and stay safe from dengue. Khuda Hafiz.